Yeah, so I gotta talk about the Beekeeper with Jason Statham, the new movie from Jason Statham, directed by David Ayer. Incredible director, probably. I like Fury. I didn't like Suicide Squad. I don't really think that was his fault. I didn't see End of Watch, but I did see Fury, and I liked that. Neither here nor there. We can cut this part out if need be. Get it? So anyway, here's the thing. The Beekeeper is just like one of those movies that it was just like such a joy for it to like, to watch, for it to like kind of unfold like in front of, like I kind of went in, I by the time I saw it, the buzz spread fast, obviously. I probably would have gone anyway, honestly, because, a movie starring Jason Statham called The Beekeeper, where he plays like a murderous, like a beekeeper who's like on a revenge bent. Like that's just kind of like I texted a buddy afterwards that it was a good movie, and he said, oh really, like it looked like a standard, just generic Jason Statham action movie to me. And I was like, yeah, I mean fair, but like to me that's a good thing. Going in, that's kind of where my head is at on this, right? I gotta tell you, fucking awesome movie. That movie fucking rules. It is just like one of those like insane movies that just like lets you know, like from the jump, this is just going to be like an insane movie, and it doesn't really like matter all that much, like, plot, like things like that, like it's in there, but like really like what this movie wants to do is just give you a fun time, and fucking hell did the movie deliver on that. Like, so like Jason Statham, he's a beekeeper, which like at first you think like, oh, he's just a beekeeper, he's just like taking care of bees, but no. The beekeepers are also like a secret government organization that are just the like most badass of the most badass people that you could imagine. And apparently there are two rules to being a beekeeper. Is one, you have to actually keep bees, which I think is fucking hysterical. That's like, all right, like, you've made it past like black ops, like whatever. Now you're a beekeeper. And then they're like, oh great. And they're like, here's your bees, like, and he's just like, yeah, I'll take care of my bees like I take care of the hive in real life, which is like whatever. This isn't. I'm imagining this is how it goes. It's not like. Thankfully, the movie's fairly light on backstory. But anyway, so he's a beekeeper. So one, you got to keep bees. Two, everything you say has to generally be bee related. So like he's like the general plot of the movie is he's on revenge for a woman, like an older woman that like was kind of taking care of him, and there's like a scam artists who take advantage of like elderly people, and like she like loses all of her money, and he's basically trying to like get revenge for them doing that to her. And like, he just like shows up to like this place and is like, it's time to smoke out the wasps, and just like shit like that, like, I'm a beekeeper and that means I need to smoke away the wasps to protect the hive, just like shit like that. And it's just like every time this guy shows up, he's got, and then in the rest of the movie, it starts catching on to like other characters where like, he's got like a book on like beekeeping that they like find at the scene of the crime, and the FBI agent is like reading it and is like, oh, like, did you know that some bees actually become queen slayers, and they have to take out the queen bee because he didn't value the hive well, and and whatever, and like, yeah, which is like a metaphor for like what he's doing, I guess, and like Jeremy Irons is there, and like it's the thing. Like I said, this movie is just so fucking silly, but like from the jump, it like tells you like, look, this is gonna be one that like we're just here to have fun. Like, we're gonna like, have a laugh. Like, it's gonna be a silly movie about Jason Statham being a beekeeper. But Jason Statham is like the fucking man, so he can like, no, I don't think it might have worked with somebody else. It wouldn't have been as good, because Jason Statham can like ride that line between like it's clearly silly, and he knows that it's kind of silly, but he still like delivers it in a way where in the moment it's also kind of badass, which is like a fucking feat when the movie is about a homicidal beekeeper, and like, they send a rival beekeeper after him, and she shows up and she's like, you've been a busy bee, and like I was just like losing my mind at like, it's full of like silly ass shit like that, so you're kind of like laughing, but you're laughing like with it, which is like so much more fun to me than like, some of these like action movies where it's like you know, like the Marvel thing where it's, you know, kind of like smirky, like, oh, this is so stupid. The movie, like, never like outright is, you know, doing the like, oh, this is so dumb thing. Like, the characters in the moment are selling it, but they're doing that kind of old school action movie kind of camp kind of thing where like it's silly, but like we know that it's silly, but we're gonna play it kind of silly, but we're also playing it like not like straight, but like with an air of straightness to it, so that like it actually like does kind of work as like a movie, like not just like, you know, straight up comedy, even though that's like what it is. And like there's just so many like crazy fucking moments where like, and like also this movie does a thing that I fucking love what action movies do. Like I love this so much where like Jason Statham like really like he really does kind of just show up, beat a bunch of guys up, do some bee related humor, or like talking like kind of like platitudes about like, you know, like the best worker bees are the ones that make the honey, like, you know, like that kind of a thing, you know. And like it, like, you know, and then he'll leave and then people will be like, oh my god, that was a beekeeper, the beekeepers, like that's the most oh my god, we'll never survive the beekeepers, you know. And then he shows up and he does all this badass shit and you're like, oh my god, they probably won't survive the beekeepers. And like, yeah, Jeremy Irons has to like he's like in on the joke too, and he's like got to give like a speech at one point about like the beekeepers, and like, you know, it's like, when I was the director of the CIA, there was one group that even I didn't have any jurisdiction over, the beekeepers. The beekeepers will do whatever it takes to protect the interests of the hive, no matter what it costs. And like just like shit, you know. And like people are like, oh my god, the beekeepers, like they're just like, there's like, because of that, it's just so fucking goofy. And like, I don't know, here's the thing, like I love like a big fucking just kind of goofy like action movie that just wants to give you a good time and, you know, get in, get out. And like, I don't know, like some people like they'll watch those and they're not willing to meet it at that level, which is kind of like my big thing when it comes to movies, is I'll try to meet any movie at the level of where it's at and then kind of go from there. And, you know, like people will like, you know, watch like John Wick or something and be like, oh, all action movies should be like this. And like, I just don't like, it's like, you know, sometimes like you want to go to McDonald's and you want to eat a Big Mac, and that's just, you know, that's just dinner that night. And, you know that it's, you know, like probably not like the most like nutritious menu item. Maybe it is at McDonald's, I don't know. But like, it's just like one of those things where it's like, sometimes that's just what you want. And, you know, it's a Big Mac it hits the spot sometimes. And like, I don't know, like it's like, I feel like sometimes people will watch like an action movie and they'll be like, oh, like, you know, like that wasn't like the best movie I've ever seen, you know, with like the highlight of the genre. I mean, that doesn't mean like, it's like if you went to McDonald's and you were like, what the hell, man, that wasn't Ruth Chris Steakhouse. And I'd be like, yeah, well, you didn't go to Ruth Chris Steakhouse, you went to fucking McDonald's. Like, you know, they serve McDonald's there. So anyway, I don't know, it just like, I'm happy to just, you know, like watch some kind of trash like bee related pun movie. And you know what, it's not even like a guilty pleasure thing. I think it's genuinely like, it's a good movie. Like it was trying to do something, it successfully did it. And you know, fuck yeah, I love that. I applaud that. And just like, I don't know, man, Jason Statham, bro, like he's just the man. The other thing about that movie is like, it genuinely is like insane. Like there's like this like amazing scene in there that like I love, where like Statham is like trying to like break into like the bad guys' headquarters, and like the cops are there and they're all like, oh, we gotta, and Statham's like, if you wanted to get in there, you'd be like, there's no back entrance, like whatever. And then it like cuts to inside the bad guy's location and they're all like, we're gonna get the beekeeper, fuck the beekeeper, I don't care about the beekeeper, like whatever. And it like cuts to them like, yeah, fuck it. And Statham is in there applauding. And he's like, yeah, and he like pats the guy beside him on the back, and the guy's like, yeah, and then he like looks down at a piece of paper, and it's like a picture of Jason Statham, and it's like, don't let this guy, if you see this guy, and he like does one of those, like he like looks down and goes like, oh, like, you know, like, and then Statham just starts like whomping these guys. And I don't know, if that doesn't put a smile on your face, I don't fucking know like what would, like, quite frankly. So anyway, yeah, fuck yeah, the Beekeeper. I'm all about the Beekeeper. I'm a proud member of the Hive. And yeah, that's that. I'll fucking hell yeah for the Beekeeper. Strong recommend.